All right. Unwanted, unloved, and still divine within. Embracing your inner sovereignty and peace. So, just to start off, why am I making this PowerPoint today? Well, this is kind of the advice I need. Why? I don't feel chosen today. I mean, you know, life is paradoxical. Two things can be true at the same time. You know, today I don't feel chosen. I don't feel looked at. I don't feel seen. But that's because reality is that way, right? I'm literally not seen. I have nothing. Emotionally, I'm doing my best to prop myself up and not stay down. That's why I'm being productive. I'm making these videos. Life's hitting, but I'm not trying to let it get to me. More like I'm choosing not to, because even if everyone else rejects me, I'm not going to reject me, okay? That's my choice. I get to choose how I feel. No one is going to boss me around. Like, these girls can all ignore me and not want me. Well, I choose me. I love me. It's my choice. I choose to. Even if the world says I'm unlovable, I still love myself, all right? I will still be at peace. If the whole world does not love me, I'm okay with living in the middle of the forest and happy with like a dog or something, or maybe if I get a capybara. That's what I would do. You know what I mean? So I am doing my best, but the reality is smacking me in the face, is going pop, 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 and I'm like, no, 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 no. Anyways, yeah. So I made this PowerPoint really for myself, but really for all of us. I have another channel, but I do bounce around too much, and I can't stick to a niche. So I made a new account. I said, this is me. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, and here I am. I'm making PowerPoint about just being in this situation. So the ache. So what is the ache? A deep. This is a deep exploration of love's absence and its quiet pain. Sometimes love does not come back. Sometimes no one chooses you. It's a silent ache no one talks about. Talking about my ex, right? For example, I really did love her. I'm not gonna use. I mean, I still do. I have no hard feelings. She's not coming back. Um, I did choose her. But she said I didn't choose her. Hell, she said she wanted to be seen, and I always saw her. And you know, who knows who was wrong in the situation? Was it maybe I could have done more? I mean, yeah, I could have done more, but we could always do more. There's always more to do, and got to keep it moving. But anyways, the external truth. Embracing the reality of being unwanted without losing your sense of self-worth. All right, that's tough. That's very tough. Yes, you may be unwanted. Yes, affection may not come. That truth can exist without defining you. One of the things that really hurt is, like, for example, dating apps, man. Dating apps is crazy. I literally live in New York City. No matches. No matches. I could put a 100-mile radius and no one still wants me. Now, is that reality? Fuck no, bro. I know. I'm not that bad, in a 100-mile radius, and I'm like New York City. I know, but that's still reality, though. Like, that's still the reality of the situation. I'm still here, no matches. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here, no matches. So what am I supposed to do now? Some of y'all may say, Hugo, you're lying. I know you're getting matches. Well, what you want me to do? They don't. If I'm not attracted to the person, they don't count. Like, y'all, like, if every time I paid listen, every time I've paid our people, there's no way in hell I will ever swipe on them. No way in hell. No way in hell. Like, okay, I know I'm trying to be like kind or whatever, but man, like, they're either trans or like 600 pounds, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know what else to say, bro. Like, yes, they're finer people, but come on, bro. Like, I think that's even worse, bro. I think that's worse than nothing, man. That's even worse than nothing. That's all I can attract. Jesus, bro. That's way to ruin my self esteem. You know what I mean? But anyways, these things could be true, you know, but can't let it get to you. You know, the internal lie. Transforming external rejection into self acceptance and inner healing. The mind likes to turn reality into identity. And then it causes this pain to repeat as inner cruelty. But the heart is not meant to mimic the world. Remember that. The heart is not meant to mimic the world. No matter how cruel reality teaches you, don't don't reflect that to yourself. You know what I mean? There's like, let's use the word or the concept of the inner child. Why are you gonna hurt your inner child? You know what I mean? Why be mean to your inner child? Be nice to them. You know, why are you gonna be mean to them too? Why are you gonna belittle them too? Hurt people, of course, but fuck, bro, like, what? Why are you gonna hurt your inner child? What they do? All they do trying to do is like love you and then coexist with you. You know what I mean? Why be mean to them too? Why be cruel to them? A lot of people who are abusive and mean, yes, they were abused and they're just projecting that pain onto others. But like, why do that? Like, they got nothing to do with that shit. You know what I mean? Got nothing to do with that. The inner kingdom. The only place you are God is within, embracing your sacred self. You choose what is sacred inside. Your love can exist without permission. Nurture your inner light and truth. I know there's a lot of jokes about inner light, but for fuck's sake, bro, that's all there is, man. Your inner light is all there really is, man. Though, if the world is filled with darkness, all you really got is your light. Like, why join the darkness, man? Like, if everyone's spitting on you and stopping you out, why you gotta do that to yourself? That's my mentality. That's why I'm doing this. Is it possible I was maybe stabbing myself a little bit? Maybe poking myself, maybe a little bit, right? But I had to catch myself and make this PowerPoint because I said, "Yo, why am I doing this? Why am I being hard on myself? Let me be a bit more loving. Let's make a PowerPoint to encourage me to help me think things through because it's like, man, you know, why do I have to join the mob? You know what I mean? Like, people love to mob, people love to gather. Like, that's why they burned witches, or people join cults. It's like, why, if everyone says I'm a dumbass, right? Why do I gotta believe that though? Why can't I just be ignorant? Why can't I just be? I mean, maybe I'm proving them right that I am a dumbass because I'm not listening to what they're saying. And I'm saying, you know what? I don't care. I still see myself as smart, but we're talking about the emotional world, bro. The emotional world, you could dictate whatever the fuck you want, man. With the emotional world, it's up to you. Everyone knows emotions are so irrational. You know what I mean? They're so irrational. Why not, make use of them and have them serve us? I don't know, bro. I'm just blabbing at this point, I'm just going, I don't know. So, reversal. So we got to transform isolation into a source of strength and clarity. Let loneliness become space for truth. Let rejection refine integrity. Yet your solitude become your sanctuary. This shit sounds so. I should have read this before I had ChatGPT. I was just asking it for like some advice. This is so generic, so ass. But there is some truth to this. Let loneliness become space for truth, bro. Let loneliness burn you alive. Let no be pretend you're like a sword and let loneliness burn you alive, bro. Let it refine you. You know what I mean? Let pain sharpen you up, okay? Is it cope? Possibly. But what else is there to do? Fuck it, fuck it. Figure it out. Why be self-defeating? You know what I mean? All right, next, embracing feelings as part of the journey, not identity. Breathe and say, "This feeling belongs to life, not me." I mean, that's pretty helpful, honestly. Witness your pain without identity. Bow to the moment, and it transforms. You know what? I kind of like this. I got little chills. This feeling belongs to life, not me. Now, what does this mean? Well, I don't fucking know. You're having everyone's spitting on you. Everyone's calling you ugly, or no. You know what? what's worse? You're being ignored, right? You're not being seen. You're not being heard. And now you're like, damn, I ain't shit. Or let's say you say, "Ah, I'm not gonna let that get to me, right? But you still feel the weight. Well, we can't ignore it. We still have to address it, the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? I could say, because there is a thing. I think nowadays there is a thing of like toxic positivity, and I don't agree with toxic positivity. Sometimes things are bullshit, and we should call out the bullshit, acknowledge it, but also admit that we're not gonna let that shit get to us. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think saying this feeling belongs to life, because remember, identity is also the root of the problem. When things are threatening our identity, there is this fear that wells between within us. So I'll leave it with that, right? This feeling belongs to life, not me. Because if you ever catch yourself, an event happens, deep inside of you does not care as much as your emotions lead you to believe. Remember to state, this feelings belong to life, not me. All right. A good example is my ex. I know I'm gonna use my ex, but the reason I use that is because that was a very, 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 very painful experience for me. Because I got together with her around the time I was really deep in my spiritual journey and really changing how I am as a person. And besides my like mom and like family, I genuinely loved her as the best I could, and like the best, the most. I was saying I was being grateful every single day. You know what I mean? Yes, I could have taken more action, but that is something I struggled with, and I did let her know. But no one's perfect, and it was also my first real relationship. But I loved as much as I could, right? And when things ended, I cut things off at the root, because I do not circle back. I don't want to circle back. Why? Because I did the best. I did my absolute best, and it was not enough. All right. And because I did my absolute best, I had no attachments. It may have ended with the door never closing, but I don't need closure. We don't need closure. And I did the absolute best that I could. And so because of that, you know, there was separation between my emotions and myself, right? And I was going through that, and I was just reminding myself, listen, we tried the best that we can, so let it go. I think I'm kind of struggling to like tie it up, but because the thing is this, I did try my absolute best, and because of that, it allowed me to just move on very, not necessarily easily, but to move on, right? With no guilt or remorse or weight. But just because I tried my best doesn't mean I didn't hurt and feel pain, because I did. Any person in that situation would. It's the most logical response to what happened. There's times when things happen, and the body responds with emotions, and there's nothing we can do. There's so many times where I've been like, listen, I do not care. I really do not care, but I'm still hurting. Like rejection. I don't care for rejection, but I hurt every time rejection happens. Why? Because rejection still stings for me. Everyone's different. Rejection still stings. I don't fear it. I don't feel the hurt. I don't feel the consequences of rejection. I still put myself out there. But I'll be a liar if I said it didn't hurt every single time. I just got used to the hurt. You know what I mean? Why? Because I tell myself, listen, that feeling belongs to life. That feeling belongs to the organism that is me. The one that does not care is like the consciousness or whatever, you know. But the physical body is gonna feel the hurt. Like someone in your family dies, even if you weren't close or sort of close, you might feel something, or that feeling is a natural response to the external world. We just shouldn't get caught up with it and attach our identity to those feelings that can be literally invoked by literally anything. Anything in life can really invoke these emotions. Um, So yeah, I don't know why it's saying really great sight, but that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Catch y'all later.